Hello friends, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new here. Today is a day out thrifting, so we're up pretty early because we had to leave pretty early. It's about an hour and 25 minute drive to where we needed to go. Marley has finally accepted John back, so they were having a cuddle. We had our coffee. I just packed us a lunch so that we could save money and also we wouldn't have to stop at a restaurant. So I just got that ready, and then we were leaving a little after 7, make sure we had lots of time. Having my little wrist things on because that drive makes me really nauseous. And we got there about 15 minutes before opening, so I had some cheese and crackers because I didn't have any breakfast before we left. And then we're in the clothing store we shop at. If you know, you know. Like if you've been here for a while, we usually spend about an hour or more in the store when we go in because we look through pretty much everything. And then we drove to Value Village, which that was my last video. So then I wanted to go to the grocery store just because we live in like a more rural area than that, and they don't have as many options. But I love this store because it has like an labeled plant-based section, and I was in here looking for this blue cheese, and I was so happy that they had it because it's so hard to find, but it's so delicious. So I ended up getting 2 of those because it's so hard to find. I figured we would just get a couple while we had it. They did have this other blue cheese I like too, but the other one is better. But it's good to know that they have that here. And yeah, this is like a larger area, so it makes sense that they have more things, but it's always exciting because we definitely don't have anywhere close to this. And then we noticed that they also had the smoked applewood cheddar that I also really love, so we ended up getting that as well. Since we were here, even though we found what we were looking for, I figured I would look for some other things while we were there and just have a little look and see what we could get that we don't have in our store. It's just exciting. I don't know. This is what being an adult is. We prefer eating more whole food, plant-based, but sometimes it's nice to have something a little junkier, I guess. I definitely saw a lot of things that I hadn't seen in a while, like those field roast sausage things. And they had so many different kinds of cheese that I never see anywhere else, so it's kind of exciting. And then since we looked here, I decided we should go look in the other plant-based, like non-dairy section, and they had so much more over there as well, which is just exciting to have so many options. And in case you're new here or maybe you don't realize, I do live in Canada where groceries are pretty expensive, but the area that we live in, groceries are even more expensive than like even the rest of Canada. I think I read an article recently that said we were the second highest province for groceries, only second to like up north, which it makes sense that groceries are expensive up there because they have to fly everything in. So if you're looking at the prices and thinking they're extremely high, just factor that in. I did notice they had this butter that I hear a lot of people talk about, but I don't think I've had it before. I just buy like cheap plant-based option, but I do like the Earth Balance sticks when I'm baking, like at Christmas time. So it had been about 3.5 hours since we started at the first store, so we decided to stop and eat some lunch and then carry on into thrifting. So we're back at the store. The store is not necessarily my favorite. It used to be really, really great, but the prices have increased quite a bit. It's a consignment shop though, so it's not exactly like thrift store prices. But I did end up finding some good things in here during this trip, so there's hope. If you watched my last video at Value Village, this was obviously the same day, you'll know that I was pretty disappointed with that trip. So I did find some things in here that kind of boosted my mood a little because I was feeling pretty, while we were eating lunch, we were talking about how empty the shelves were and like it takes a lot of our time to go thrifting since we have to drive so far and then we have to drive home. And so it's like a full 8 to 10, sometimes more than 10-hour days to do this. So, and John was on vacation, so we were talking about like, is this even worth it? So we didn't end up thrifting as much as we had planned to for the rest of the week. But we did end up finding some good things in here. John found some good things too. And then the store that we go to after this one, I found some good things in there as well. At first, I wasn't really seeing a whole lot, so I was kind of thinking along the same lines as the Valley Village trip, but I saw these and I was considering getting them for organizing, and I kind of wish that I would have because they're a lot more expensive, like in a store, but I ended up leaving them. But then I found something really great, which I was not expecting to see. I'm still undecided if I should sell them or keep them because I do really love them, but it's this stack of soup bowls, and I'm not sure exactly when they'd be from, but if I had to guess, they might be 60s or 70s. But I just love them so much. I haven't like looked them up or anything yet, but I don't know, I kind of want to keep them because I do really, really like them. I feel like they definitely fit in with my kitchen vibe as well. If you've watched my kitchen tours, you know. And then right after that, I saw these like cracker soup bowl, like promotional items from, I believe, the 90s. So I did end up getting those as well to sell though. And then John came over and I was excited to tell him about the soup bowls, but he told me about all the big stack of games that he had found to resell. So yeah, very exciting, especially after like we were just so disappointed in Value Village. So it was a nice little boost. If I lived closer to the thrift store and I had that experience, I wouldn't care as much as driving an hour and a half to get there and then having to drive an hour and a half home. This is the area that John usually comes to look for like games to resell, and they have board games over here, but when he was showing me how they had this tabletop air hockey, I think it might have been like it converted to something else too, maybe. But we were talking about at the theater we used to go to, they had an air hockey table there that we'd play sometimes before the movie. But this is also the area where they keep their movies and CDs and stuff. They usually don't ever have VHS, but sometimes I look through the DVDs, see if there's anything there. But anyway, I went back to the shelves after we had our little talk. So I didn't really see too much of great interest on the shelves after that, but I was happy with finding the soup bowls. I will say I did really like this rainbow with the hearts little coffee carafe. I thought that was cute, but I have no use for it. But I had some time to kill while I was waiting for John to finish, so I decided to look at the purses. I usually don't look at this stuff like while we're in there because it's consignment, so it's more expensive than thrift store pricing. Same with the clothes. But then I noticed this purse, and this took me back. In the early 90s, my mom didn't have the exact same purse. It was different colors, but it was the same, like, different patches. And I forget what that stitch is called that's stitching it together. I think it has a certain name, but like different colors, but pretty much the same. Hers was like really dark, like burgundy colors and purples, but it was such a weird thing to see that. I don't know if I've ever seen one since like the early 90s. And then I had a few more minutes to kill, so I decided to look at the DVDs. I love John Candy. I would have got that DVD, but I already have those movies. I saw Fun with Dick and Jane, which is also a funny movie, but we already own it. I'm pretty sure that's a remake of another movie. Like, I don't know if it had the same name or not. This Goldie Hawn movie, Overboard, is also really funny, which I want to say that was a remake, or maybe they remade that movie, because I think that movie was from the 70s, maybe? Or I might be thinking of a different movie. I'm not entirely sure. I do really like the movie Failure to Launch, too. It's funny. I love Sarah Jessica. So I pretty much always watch everything that she's in, which I will recommend the show that she was in called Divorce. I'm not sure when it started because I watched it after it was already over, but I think there was 3 seasons. But it was hilarious. I started watching it and I actually stopped watching and started over because I thought John would enjoy the show as well, and we both like loved it. So then we made our way to the like animal shelter thrift store, which this place can be hit or miss. It used to be my favorite thrift store, but things are not like as good as they used to be. But you can still find some things. I did find some things in here. And I also saw something that I didn't think that much of at the time, but I have since looked it up after watching the footage, and I regret not getting it. I flipped through the card section just like off camera because it's easier. I don't think that I found any that day, but I always look. And lately I've been seeing a lot of stoneware that has either blues or like pinky colors in them, but I used to always just feel like they were brown, orange, yellow, that kind of colorway. But lately I feel like I've been seeing a lot more colorful ones. I thought this one was actually really pretty, but just not my style. I'm not sure what the odds are of finding this many suples in different locations on the same day, but I ended up finding 3 more of these suples. They're slightly different than the ones I found earlier, but they're from 1999. And I did end up getting them to resell. I haven't looked them up, I don't think, though. But I just figured they were inexpensive enough that they were worth getting. I looked up this glass to see if it was worth anything, but I couldn't find anything that made it seem worth picking up. I forget what year it was from, but it was like Olympics, obviously. I have actually like boxes and boxes and boxes of things that I bought to resell that I haven't photographed yet. I just need to be in the right mood to do it, and I guess I just haven't been. So, but I've been looking at the boxes and thinking I'd really love to get rid of all of these boxes out of the house. So I'm gonna try to get that done, and my goal for the end of June is to have everything photographed that I have here in the house. So hopefully I'm able to do that. And speaking of reselling, I found something really great back here in the corner that I almost wouldn't have noticed. It's this vintage cookie press. I actually used to have one of these. If you've been here for a long time, I made a video with it a long time ago. Well, I ended up selling that because I realized I would never use it again. But I ended up selling it for a decent amount, and it was also in the box. It was the same brand, but different box, so like from different era, I guess. But this one was the box is in semi-rough shape, but I'm gonna resell that. But I'm pretty sure I sold the last one for like 60 or 80. Like it was a decent amount. It sold very fast too. I think it sold like 2 days after I put it up. So I saw this castle, this Fisher-Price castle that looked vintage, but I wasn't sure. The part where the writing was a little bit torn up. So I was like, that does look kind of like my childhood era just from looking at it, but I didn't think that much of it. A lot of the Fisher-Price things don't actually hold that much value. I feel like it's one of the things that gets inflated. However, for the sake of the video and recording the voiceover, I thought, well, I should look it up and see if it actually is vintage. It was made in 1974, and it does sell for quite a considerable amount on eBay, which is where I looked. And quite a few have sold, like, I think more than 60 in the last 90 days, which is a pretty good amount for something like that. So definitely wish I would have looked that up while we were in the store, but I was filming, so I was just focusing on that. But speaking of things that are not worth money, can we talk about the Beanie Babies? I feel like every time I go to a thrift store, I just see so many. But I remember when these were like selling at McDonald's, and yeah, I spent way too much time looking at them. I ended up cutting out that footage, but I was putting them all together in their groups, and I don't know why. I just feel compelled to do that, but. Anyway, then I was just looking again. I didn't actually look that much at the toys, but again, with the Beanie Babies, I feel like Beanie Babies might be one of the biggest scams, because not only are they not worth money, but does anyone remember how they not only just said, like, these are going to be worth money? Remember, they used to have books that would tell you the projected value they were going to have. That's why I feel like it's scammy, because they were basically like, their like business model was telling people they were going to be worth money. It's like why people, I feel, bought so many of them and bought the cases for them and all of that. And like, I mean, some people think they're worth money, but if you actually look at what they sell for, they're not worth any money. Maybe a couple that have like misprints or something, I think might be worth some amount of money, but like compared to all of the Beanie Babies that were made, they are not worth anything. Which is why you see like usually big groupings of them in thrift stores. Like clearly someone has just donated their whole collection. And speaking of collections, we stumbled across this M&M collection. And I know that some of these tins are collectible, so that's what made me stop and take notice. But then I noticed that a lot of the tins and things were still sealed, including like ones from the 90s. And they were pretty inexpensive. So I said to John, like, oh, maybe we should pick some of these up. So we were thinking about trying to look them up while we were in the store, but it was busy. So we just got like what we thought might be the most interest. Like they had a lot of Christmas ones, which I think the Christmas ones are the more collectible, like valuable ones, but we picked up a few other holiday ones too. So obviously this is someone's collection that they had been collecting for like over 20 years, just given like this one I'm holding, I think was one of them from the 90s. So it's interesting, but I like the sign. I like the sign that they have up. You can see in the background. It's like, do not eat. So we just keep joking about it since we bought them. Like they're in our storage unit, but I'm like, hey, do you want to eat some 90s M&Ms? I mean, we can't even eat present day M&Ms because we're vegan, but so then after we got done there, we went to that like I keep calling it the fake Costco because we wanted to get some Zevia. So John went in and grabbed that, and then the grocery store with the Starbucks in it is right next door. So then he went and got us some Starbucks, and they spelled his name Joe, which everyone usually spells John's name wrong. Like they spell it with an H. Even people who know that his like full name is Jonathan still spell it with an H, which we find hilarious. Like we joke about it all the time because of the amount of people that spell his name wrong. Like it's one thing if you don't know, but if you know that his name is Jonathan, where's the H coming from? I don't know. Anyway, we went to a few more clothing stores and then we headed home, and I was so tired on this day, and so was John. I'm not sure why. Maybe because we had been out thrifting, I think, the day before or something. I just remember feeling like I was going to fall asleep on the drive home, even though I had just had the Starbucks. Because I was thinking, oh, this is great. This will like bring me around. It did not bring me around. But little Marley was so happy to see us when we got home. So I sat on the couch with her for a few minutes, but then I just immediately took a shower and went upstairs to lay down, like got in pajamas. So I gave Marley a little treat while we were up there. She was super excited. I can't remember if I actually fell asleep or not, but a few hours went by anyway. And then I was thinking, I feel a little bit hungry, but I don't really want a full meal. So I went downstairs because we had just got some plant-based craft dinner earlier. So I thought, oh, I should make that. That will be a nice little bit of food, but not too filling because it was like later in the day. So I went downstairs to grab that, and then John had come downstairs. And so when I went to ask him if he wanted any, I looked in and he was asleep. So I woke him up because I knew he wouldn't want to just keep sleeping and then be up all night. So I asked him if he was hungry and if he wanted some craft dinner, and he's like, yeah, that would be the perfect amount. So we had that. It was our first time having the plant-based version, and we obviously haven't eaten craft dinner in like over a decade, but we thought it was pretty good. So we just watched a little bit of TV, and then I think we went to bed after that. But I ended up getting these wire baskets. They're just from the dollar store, but they're usually $4 a piece, but they wanted $4 for all three, which I thought was a good deal. And I've already purchased these before from the dollar store and like them, so I did end up getting those. And obviously I got the soup bowls as well. I'm still undecided, and this was quite a few weeks ago that I bought them. I don't know, I'm still thinking about it because I just decluttered my kitchen and it feels nice not having so much stuff. So I'm trying to decide if I really want them or not. Actually, not so much if I want them, because clearly I do want them, but whether or not I actually need them and whether or not I'll use them. So still undecided on that. And then obviously I got all of the other soup bowls, like the Ritz Premium Plus, kind of promotional, I guess, is what these would have been. These ones didn't have a year on them, but I feel like these ones were also from the 90s as well. Like, I feel like it was the 90s that I remember them being from. We didn't have them at our house, but I'm pretty sure, like, one of my friends, they had them at their house. And then the three plainer ones that I got, these ones actually have the $19.99 on them, so... yeah, I mean, they were cheap enough that I feel like I could make an okay profit on them. And then I did end up buying this Looney Tunes mug from 2000. It was only $1, so I thought, for some reason, mugs sell really well for me. I feel like I might actually be sold out of mugs right now, but I do have a whole bunch that I could photograph and post. So, but yeah, I feel like every time I put mugs up, they usually sell pretty quick. And then I did buy these taper candles that I seen. They're like a thinner taper candle. I think I am going to keep them and use maybe, but maybe I will sell them as well. I'm not sure. But the package kind of looks like 60s, maybe 70s to me. They're definitely like older than 80s, I think. Actually, I don't remember the box having a barcode, so I would say that they are definitely 70s then. And then lastly, I got the cookie press, which I was very excited to find this because I know I'll make a good profit on this. The box is in a little rough condition. It's a little bit dusty, but I'll probably try to clean it up as best I can. But the one that I had before did not have the book with it. I feel like the box might have been in similar condition. I don't know. But I was not expecting to find something like this in a thrift store for that cheap, so it's pretty cool. It appears to have all of the plates with it as well, so I don't know, it's a pretty good find, I think. I was pretty excited. Obviously, like, going out and going to so many thrift stores, I definitely thought I was going to find more things, so I was, like, I guess slightly disappointed, but I feel like I did find some good things to resell, so... And if you watched, like, my Value Village video, I did find a few things there, not many. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll see you again soon. I do have, I think, at least 1 or 2 more thrift videos to share, so stay tuned. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you again soon.